Hello again. I've observed over the years how the BBC first began experimenting with inserting the odd black character into both documentaries and dramas set in Britain's past. At first this was done with some subtlety, perhaps the occasional Indian or African included in crowd scenes from the Tudor or Victorian periods. This was actually quite reasonable. There were, of course, small numbers of foreigners visiting and even living in Britain at many times in the past. These people were generally on the fringe of society, beggars, street sweepers, out-of-work sailors and so on. Their numbers were very small and they seldom appeared in respectable society, except occasionally as pages or liveried servants. There was a vogue for this in the 18th century. Photographs, paintings and accounts of life in Victorian Britain confirm that during the 19th century there were hardly any black or Asian people at all in Britain. One or two, yes. Reasonably large numbers, no, not, of course not. How many members of visible minorities have viewers ever seen in photographs taken in Victorian Britain? The BBC, though, wanted to alter the past so that viewers, especially children, would gain the impression that our modern, multi-ethnic society has always been around, even centuries or thousands of years ago. So when making a children's programme about Roman Britain, black actors are used. The Victorian era is especially popular for this misrepresentation of the past. The BBC's latest effort in this field exceeds anything which it has previously attempted. It is called Dodger, and it's a comedy series, a prequel to Charles Dickens' novel Oliver Twist. The London which has been crafted for this production is simply extraordinary. Readers of Oliver Twist, I've been reacquainting myself with the book, of course. I don't suppose anybody will be particularly surprised to hear that I have every book that Dickens wrote. Anyway, readers of that book will know that Fagin lived with a group of boys whom he had trained as pickpockets. Among these are Jack Dawkins, known as the Artful Dodger, and his friend Charlie Bates. I cannot resist mentioning at this point an exceedingly old and well-established urban myth that the cartoon series Captain Pugwash, which was popular 50 or 60 years ago on British television, featured a boy named Master Bates. See, a play on words, masturbates, masturbates. I've met many people who are convinced that they remember this. It's not true, of course. The name is actually found in Oliver Twist, with Charlie Bates being referred to as Master Bates in the book. It is perhaps inevitable that the Artful Dodger's friend Charlie Bates should, in the BBC version, be played by an Indian girl. The thumbnail to this video shows the BBC's version of Fagin's Boys. I say boys, but it will have once be observed that 3 out of 5 are not boys at all, but girls. It will also be seen that more than half of them belong to visible minorities, Indian, Chinese and black. I doubt that many viewers will be all that surprised when I tell them that Nancy, the young Cockney girl from Oliver Twist, is portrayed as an Asian from the north of England. She's played by an actress called Sarah Chowdhury. In fact, ethnic minorities appear to dominate the cast. We have a mill owner, played by a black man called Colin McFarlane, a police officer, played by another black guy, Javone Prince, who, by the way, works regularly for CBBC. And the cast also includes somebody called Danny John Jules, who is another black man famous from some other television programme or other. This series, which is produced by CBBC and specifically aimed at children, is part of a deliberate campaign to use a subliminal form of indoctrination so that young white people in Britain grow up to accept that their country has always had a large number of black people and Asians living in it. Most children leaving school now are convinced of this false perspective, and anybody who challenges the idea or asks why the youngsters believe this is regarded as a right-wing fanatic or racist. The refashioning of the past in this way is almost complete, and most children now at school have not the least idea that there was once a white nation called Britain, which contained only a handful of foreigners. It has become accepted now that we have always been a multi-ethnic country, and that this was the case even as far back as the Roman occupation. The BBC have played a major part in the creation of this fantasy version of the past, and Dodger is their latest effort in the field.